I want to talk to you guys a little bit about heat exchanger failure or preventative heat exchanger failure real quick if you've got a couple of minutes. Here I want to show you a couple of examples of failed heat exchangers and what we can do to possibly eliminate this. As you can see here, this heat exchanger actually blew a couple of holes in a couple of the cells there. And you can tell by the coloring of that heat exchanger that this thing got really hot. And a couple of ways to prevent this is number one, simply just setting your gas pressure. Okay, every time you do a service call, every time you do an install, I always recommend, always have that you set your gas pressure, or at least check it every time you're there for a visit. That's going to help you determine if we're going to overfire this furnace or not. And the other thing is an airflow check. Okay, do your static pressure checks. Make sure that we're moving the correct amount of air across this heat exchanger so that it doesn't overheat. Another preventative method is basically on the homeowner's end of things. As you can see here, secondary heat exchanger, which is usually above the blower motor, caked full of crud. Okay, this is something that the homeowner could have done to help prevent this heat exchanger failure simply by replacing their filters on time, or even just putting a filter in the return air duct system to catch some of that stuff, so that we can have clean air going across this unit. So this unit was probably condemned and returned because of pressure switch faults with the holes in it. There's also signs that this heat exchanger, or this furnace rather, was short cycling. You can see a lot of condensate and rust in the secondary recoup. Okay, when we have a furnace that short cycles, usually runtime under 10-15 minutes or so. If we're on for 5 minutes and then we're off for a little while, on for 5 minutes, off for a little while, we start condensing in areas that we shouldn't be condensing in. Okay, here's another example of a heat exchanger that looks like from day one was overfired. Technician probably did not set the gas pressure appropriately during install. Also, again, looks like this system short cycled. You can see condensate starting to drip out of the recoup cover. We shouldn't be condensing back there. Condensing should be happening in the secondary heat exchanger tubes only, and then making its way out of the drain. Again, all of this could be prevented if the technician is setting up the gas pressure during commissioning, verifying your airflow, static pressure, CFM, and also responsibility of the homeowner, having annual maintenance done, replacing air filters on time, keeping the duct systems clean. Carlos Sanchez, Johnstone Supply, West Michigan, TSA.